All right, part one for June the 11th, Thursday. So we are at the last section, life, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, life after the rescue. Life after the rescue. Um, so in this section, the writer tells us that then Pugliese was able to just share with Deidre Taylor all of the details that she may or may not have known about the fire. And she was able to tell him about her life. And he was so very touched because she had become a nurse, that she was working with COVID patients in New York um, uh, as a gift to New York and to humankind. It wasn't her regular job. She had made this journey and offered herself to do this, and that was very meaningful to him. That touched his heart. And it also touched his heart because he personally had just lost a friend who was a fire chief, and or his fire chief, and he had just lost this friend to COVID-19. So there was a very personal connection to that. So the story, had various connections. Also, they found that they had things in common. Most significantly, that they were both die-hard Yankees fans. The Yankees are a baseball team, a professional baseball team in New York. And if you are a die-hard fan, that means that you are a fan until the end. That this is the team that you support over all others. And they had this connection as well. Unfortunately, of all things to imagine, they couldn't meet face to face because of the very reason that Deidre Taylor was there, and that was the coronavirus. So I know that had to have been a disappointment, but I think there's probably every reason to think that they will see each other as soon as it's safe to do so. I would imagine, and the article may say, but I would imagine that Deidre Taylor has gone home at this point since the crisis has subsided, that she is back in her home of Alexandria, Virginia, and has resumed her work there in emergency nursing. But I have little doubt that they will find a way to be together, and I really think that there will be a news article about that. I'll definitely be keeping my eyes open for that, and certainly share it with you if I come across that at a later time. But I hope you enjoy this. So let's take a look. I included just a few comprehension questions. These actually come from the particular website, the News LEA website, where I found this article. So you hopefully have had a chance to look at these. If not, that's okay. The first comprehension question: which two sentences from the article include the most important ideas of the article? Well, okay, that's kind of hard, isn't it, sometimes to figure out the very most important ideas, but we're given some choices here. A, she has kept the daily news article all these years, and she had always wished she could find Pugliese and thank him. Pugliese, who retired in 1996 and is now 75 years old, had never had someone track him down to say thank you before. C, during her time off, she went to the firehouse where Pugliese had worked, only to find a sign on the door discouraging visitors due to COVID-19. And D, I'd love to go to a Yankees game with her once this has subsided, he said. All right, so I wonder which two sentences you felt include the most important ideas of the story? I believe that the answer is A and B. Those two, I think, have elevated importance over the other two that are there. The other two are a little bit more detail oriented, but we're looking for big ideas. So A and B would be the correct answers. Number 2, which statement would be most important to include in a summary of the article? Summaries are always hard, okay? Summaries are hard because you have to bring all that information together in just a small, amount of writing and try to get, again, the most important ideas. In this case, we're looking for one statement that's a good summary statement. A, Taylor had not lived in New York since she was a child and did not know how to find Pugliese. All right, that one is a detail and would not be a summary type of a statement for such an involved article. B, Taylor decided to help in a New York emergency room and search for Pugliese while she was there. Okay, let's think about that one. C, Pugliese rescued Taylor from a sixth floor apartment filled with smoke. Okay, we're talking about summaries. Would this statement be most important to include? And let's look at the last one, D. A firefighter who visited the hospital gave Taylor the fire chief's telephone number. All right, what is your thought? I've already eliminated A. I believe the correct answer here to be B. Taylor decided to help in a New York emergency room and search for Pugliese while she was there, because that contains sort of the tension of the article, the most critical thing that had to happen for there to be the result that came. The other two, C is a detail that could be worked into a summary, but would not be the most important, I think, of these four. And the last one is another detail that gives us the information we need to understand how she ultimately found him. But the answer here would be B. All right, number 3. Which of these statements most accurately shows why Deidre went to New York City? A, to attend a baseball game with Pugliese? No, but we hope that happens eventually, right? B, to work in a hospital and look for Pugliese? I think so. C, to award a medal to Pugliese for saving her life? Or D, to visit the apartment building where she used to live? Obviously here the answer is B. I do wonder if that apartment building is still there and if she saw it. And number 4, which of the following most influenced Deidre Taylor's search for Eugene Pugliese? Using Google to find information about him. That would be an important tool that she accessed, but not so much of an influence, okay? It would be a tool. Helping coronavirus patients in Virginia. That played a factor, but would not be the most important thing that influenced her. Becoming an emergency room nurse in Manhattan, or learning that she received a medal. That he received a medal, So it is C, helping, becoming an emergency room nurse in Manhattan. Excuse me, I'm having such a hard time going back and forth. My words are getting twisted. Because that influenced then the search, and told her that she, wanted to go all the way with it. All right. Now, I'm sorry, I was about to stop, but we're only 10 minutes in. Now we have a scavenger hunt with the article. The first thing that I wanted you to hunt for were at least 5 transitional words or phrases. There are quite a few through this article. I think I counted somewhere between maybe 8 and 10. I'll highlight a few though with you here. So if you'll look back, the article really starts with a transitional type of a phrase, something that brings us from the past to the present here. So this is showing the passage of time for more than 3 decades. Immediately we know the extent of time here. Then let's see, in paragraph 4, we see the use of however, all right? And this then transitions from the sentence before. She learned how rare it was to hear back from patients she encountered on the worst days of her life, on worst days of their lives. Rare being very, very highly unusual. And then, however, she hadn't lived in New York since the fire and didn't know where to start. So we see the transition from one paragraph to the next here, one idea right into the next. Paragraph 5, with her family's support. Okay, this transitions to show that, she had done this Google searching and so forth, but she now, with this added support, was making this move. All right, and paragraph 6, when I was packing my bags. All right, those kinds of transitions really help us to get a picture in our minds of the very moment that the writer wants us to see and capture in our minds. And let's see, 1 or 2 more here. Let's look at paragraph number 12. In the middle of that paragraph, we see during her time off, all right? Gives us a sense of time. When did she do this search? In her time off. And then number 13, paragraph 13, Taylor finally caught a break on May 18th when a group of firefighters came into the emergency room. Okay, so we transition by the word finally gives us that sense of this is going to be it. She finally had a break. That's a nice transition there. Okay, so there are others, and I bet you caught some that I didn't. I think there were quite a few in here. So I think that the writer used transitional phrases very effectively. All right, number 6. Look in the numbered paragraphs for the following. All right, so I've given a paragraph number and something to look for. Paragraph 1, we're looking for a conjunctive adjective. We talked about these last week. Remember, these are going to be the adjectives that cannot be reversed in their order and do not need a comma. So let's go back to paragraph 1 and let's find it. And it is grainy black and white photos, okay? Because we wouldn't say black and white grainy photos. Black and white photos always work together as a thing, actually. Black and white photography, black and white photos. So we keep that together, and grainy. So we wouldn't say black and white grainy photos. We'd say grainy black and white photos. And for that reason, it is a conjunctive adjective. All right. Hope you found that. There are others in the article that you might identify as well. B, we're going to be in paragraph 3. What are 2 other ways the writer could have written this sentence? Now, I can almost hear you answering me. I really wish I could hear you answering me. This sentence, she has kept the Daily News article all these years, and she had always wished she could find Pugliese and thank him. All right. We see a sentence with a conjunction, comma, conjunction and. 2 other ways we could write this sentence. The first would be 2 separate sentences, taking the and out, putting a period after years, and making she the first word of the second sentence. So 2 separate sentences. The other way we could write this sentence would be to use a semicolon after years and take the conjunction out. Why can we do that? Because there are 2 independent clauses here, right? They can stand alone. So we can use the semicolon and make the sentence that way. All right. I hope that you got both of those without my help. All right, I'm going to pause for part 2 and we'll continue with this scavenger hunt.